Hello, Steemit. I'm back, and it was really hard not to log in for 11 days. Actually, that's a record for me since I found Steemit 1 year ago. I've never gone 11 days, and it was like torture. It's like my virtual world. It's my little home. So I'll never probably be able to do that again. But I was able to stay off of most of the internet. I found Twitter to be really hard. I couldn't stay off Twitter. It's just too easy to catch up on some news. And I was horrified to see the cryptocurrency market crash. Like right when I left for vacation, it was like way down. So that was... Anyway, I'm going to give you updates of my vacation because I can't seem to write that much at a time. I don't know what happened, but it's like my brain is hurting really bad. I know, rough life. Ooh. Feel like this could be a different way to blog, that I haven't done a lot of videos. And most of you thought that those drawings were my daughter's. They're actually mine. She did her own drawings, which are separate. Okay, this first one is showing when we first arrived in Florida. We were at the airport for 21 hours. Our flight was canceled, and then we missed our connecting flight because of the bad weather. So that was the first drawing of the day. Okay, so the next drawing is of Tiki on the beach. This was the Tiki bungalow that we stayed in when we got to Fort Myers. And it really was very beautiful until, of course, I found out about the Disneyland toilet water. But for those first 3 days before I knew about the water coming into the bay, it was very idyllic, perfect beaches and everything. During the trip to Fort Myers, we took a boat ride out in the bay to see the manatees, dolphins, and other sea creatures. There was a ton of life, which was really great to see that the manatees have come back and are not an endangered species anymore. And this drawing relates to this French family who was sitting in front of us during the entire boat ride. They had gigantic noses. It was very fascinating to watch, and they sort of made a large impression on me. So I had to draw the family with the huge noses, and the children each were like mini copies of the parents. There was 2 girls, but each one looked identical, like a genetic copy of their parents.
And you probably saw on the blog that I had these strange red bumps that appeared on my feet, and I was in a state of panic for about a day, and I never quite figured out what they were. I just forgot about it.
And then during our Uber ride to Miami, my daughter ended up puking in the car, which didn't cause an issue because we had bags and a coffee cup. And I had, like, the previous night, I had a nightmare about being kidnapped by this Cuban Uber driver. Of course, none of it happened because I'm here and alive. So this was just a bit of paranoia that I experienced that night before we went to Miami. The main reason that we went to Miami is because we went to this place called Jungle Island, and for a very exorbitant price, which I'm kind of not wanting to think about, we got to pet lemurs and capuchin monkeys. The lemurs were the softest creatures that I've ever experienced, and they jumped on our heads, and their feet pads were extremely soft as well. It was a magnificent experience. I think probably the highlight of the entire trip was having these lemurs jump on us. When we got to Miami, we went to a hotel called the Plymouth. It's a boutique hotel. Very beautiful. I would definitely recommend that hotel if you are in Miami. It had very beautiful Polynesian tiki style paintings inside, and I'll do some photos of that as well. However, the best part of this trip as far as Miami goes, besides Jungle Island, was that my daughter found a playmate, and her name was Eden. She's from France, and neither one could understand each other. Eden spoke in French and my daughter spoke in English, and I was doing a bit of translating for them, and her accent was of course very cute because children speaking foreign languages sound adorable. Our next day we went to Fort Lauderdale, and we went specifically to this restaurant. It's a very old restaurant. It's a tiki one of the original tiki restaurants, and it's called the Mai Kai. It was fantastic. They had gardens and waterfalls, gigantic tikis everywhere. They had built like fortresses in the back. Each room had its own descriptive island that it was named after, and they had fire throwers at the very end. They had about 10 different Polynesian dances, and it was completely worth it. This was the most awesome, I think, tiki experience I've ever had. So if you're in Fort Lauderdale, definitely go to the Mai Kai. It was very cool. And then in Fort Lauderdale, we stayed at the kind of, I'd say, ultra hip hotel called the W. I've got tons of photos from that. This was our view from the window, and we got a discount by paying in advance. So there's kind of like, it was the most beautiful view, I got to admit. And the hotel smelled really nice. I don't know, they must have pumped in some kind of perfume, but it had a really nice smell to it. And then at the hotel, each night they had some complimentary things. One night they had a henna artist, so my daughter and I got some henna designs on our hands. I'll show you that in a second. TV. My daughter and I ended up spending a lot of time just relaxing in the hotel rooms, watching a show called River Monsters, which was fascinating because it followed this fisherman down these rivers in Africa, and he was in search of this kind of serpent-like snake. Those bottles there, every hotel room was stocked with a ridiculous amount of liquor, and it was really hard not to get drunk every night, but I decided not to because I have terrible hangovers, so we had to go buy a bunch of soft drinks and stuff so that I wouldn't get drunk. Okay, I'm going to end this with Disneyland's toilet. By the way, there's a Disney World. I can't remember if it's Disney World or Disneyland. There's one in Orlando, Florida. That's the one that this is referring to. This refers to the water that is collected at these places in New Orleans as well, and then drains into the bay near Fort Myers. And the locals were telling us that that's why the water is kind of a greenish brown now instead of the clear blue that it used to be in the past. So this was like the depressing moment of Fort Myers experience. I'm glad we learned about it later, because we went swimming in the ocean like every day for the first 3 days. But I didn't know about the water, so at least it didn't ruin the beginning of the trip. So that part was good. That is an update. I'll probably be doing another post with all the photographs. It's really hard to figure out what exactly to document, but that was the first time that we had done the art version. And by the way, those again were my drawings. Not that great drawings, however, it was good that I was able to finish that. Thank goodness I'm back in Steemit. I'm a bit overwhelmed. I have a lot of projects that need to be helped along with. By the way, I'm still going to extend the Steamfest giveaway. I'm going to extend that into August. I haven't decided a date, but I've decided that we need to get some of these entries. I feel like there's maybe only one. I will put a link to that, and I hope that more of you will put up a 3-minute video detailing how you think you would change the world if given a chance to do so.